Hi there. Hey, today I've got something special for you. I'm going to do a honey-do list. Have you ever done a honey-do list? That's a list you do for your honey. Okay, that's why they call it a honey-do list. Not a honeydew the melon, a honey-do list. Okay, but I'm going to do this for some friends of mine. They've been kind enough to let me stay with them for a few months. And yes, I'm going to help them out to thank them for letting me stay here for a while. So I'm going to complete a honeydew list for them, and I wanted to show you what I'm going to do. And probably on another video I'll show you the completed list, and I'll probably end up breaking all the videos down to show you different things that I'm going to do. First things first, to show you what I'm going to do. Might help you out with your project. You never know. The dreaded thumb turn. This is on the front door. And every time you want to go out, if that's locked, you got to unlock it. And every time you want to come back in, you've got to lock it. And this thumb turn is really super hard. And this isn't a very expensive lock or anything. And they put it on the front door. I'm not quite sure why the builder put that on there. But to lock it every time, you've got to turn it. See, now you can't get it, you can't get out, and then you've got to turn that back. And because it's kind of a cheapy lock, it's loose and everything, it probably needs to be replaced. But until then, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to see if I can fix it. Okay? That's one of the things. Got to hang on to that and turn it. It's just binding up in there. I think I can just pull that apart, spray some cleaner in there and some other stuff like that. Okay, so that's one thing. Now here's something else on this same door. It's rubbing at the bottom of the door, and so every time you close it, it kind of pushes a little bit hard. And when you open it, you have to, if you're not quite sure how to work the door, you have to kind of push on it twice to get it in, to get it open, okay? And I'm looking at that, and I wanted to see, let me see if I can move this over here. I'm going to look at the edge of this door. See the gap there between the edge of the door? Right down here. Quite a big gap there. There's probably 5/16 to 3/8 of a gap. Let's get you in there. See how big that gap is? Now let's follow that up. See what happens. Look, it's a little closer there. There's still enough room for it not to rub. But look at the very top. Look at that. There's hardly anything. See that? Now there's enough to keep the door from rubbing. All right? But I know that if I look at the other side of this door up here, there's a big gap at the top and there's a smaller gap at the bottom. So I know this door is sagging, okay? And I'm going to fix that. That's one of the things on the list. When I get done fixing it, I'm going to hope that it's going to close a lot easier. All right? Get that on the list. Now here's another door. There's hardly any gap along here. And every time you close the door, and again, this is a door that you got to lock, and it hits. See that? That's because the latch is too close to the strike. And so every time you close it, you got to kind of push hard and kind of hit in on it, or else it's not going to close. So that's something else I'm going to take a look at more carefully and see what's going on. Here's a little pocket door, little pantry door, okay? Everything seems okay with that, except That's kind of cool. There's a little push button there. You push it out, pop that up. Kind of like that. Okay? But that's not what we're here to talk about. Look at this trim here. You see that? What a piece of mess. Usually trim is wood. Now all of that right there is flaking off. And it's almost like, I don't know, it's like paper stuff in there. And what it is this piece of wood, you see on the edge here, there's just layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of stuff. And that's how they made that piece of trim. It's kind of like MDF or something like that. Maybe a little bit different trim. And it got wet down there, didn't it? And it's all bulged. So somehow I'm going to have to try to fix that. I don't really want to replace that whole piece because it's in that piece of trim. This side style here, it kind of goes into the door because this is pocket door. I don't want to mess with that. There's a piece of trim on the outside. Somehow I'm going to have to try to cut that, shave that off, and see what I can do about making it better. Sometimes it's not all about fixing it 100%, but to make it way better than it is. Alright? Here's a nice refrigerator, and it just barely fit in. See how tight it is against that little side there? And it's tight right up against the door, and in fact it couldn't fit in there. The other refrigerator that was there before could fit, and they had to cut the piece of trim, that side trim. You see it there? They cut that and removed that. You can't really see that, can you? See? Nothing there now. Well, you could do that to fit your refrigerator in if you needed just a 1/16, a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, whatever. Okay, so that piece got cut, and look at there. Let's set this camera back down, zoom it in. See, it's just, when they nailed it, they just didn't putty up the holes. And the top has to be recalked and everything. They said, and the edge right there, they said they would go ahead and paint it. They just wanted me to caulk it in and fill it in. Okay, very simple to do. It's on the honey-do list. Let's get her done. Here's something else that's on the list. It's a nice dryer, washer dryer combo or something. I'm not quite sure exactly how that works, but I think that's a combo. And when they installed it, everything seemed fine, and the feet are down tight to the floor. But my word, you can feel that when you're in your bedroom and stuff. And this floor is on a subfloor, and there's a crawl hole area underneath, crawl space. Okay, well, hopefully the floor is supported properly and all that. And that could be one of the issues why it's kind of vibrating, you know. But here's something else you can try. Let's see here. What is that? Appliance anti-vibration pads. We're going to try that. Stays put, reduces noise. Okay, those are rubber pads, and we're going to put those down on the floor. I'm not sure if I can do this by myself. I might have to have somebody help me, you know, tilt the washing machine forward and backward and stuff and get them down under there. I'll pull that drawer out too, and I'll have a little bit of extra space. I'm kind of glad that drawer's there so I can maybe reach the back side. Because if that drawer wasn't there, how would I reach the back leg, you know, the back far one? Because we're right up against a wall over here. You see there? Now here's a dryer here, so hopefully I can kind of sneak through there. I might have to slide that over or something, but because that drawer's down there, I can pull that drawer out, maybe reach back there on my belly or something. Okay, so there, that's on the list too. Hopefully we can make it work. Not sure. We'll try. Seems as though we're in this little room here where the washer and dryer is. You see, here's the pipe, the dryer pipe, and she wanted to see if this dryer pipe could be smaller or redone or something. You see, there's the inlet right here going into the dryer. The outlet out of the wall is that other one. You see how it kind of dips up and across and over and dipsy doodles down? She wanted something down low and kind of like an S, you know. Well, the problem with an S is if you ever want to pull this dryer out and maybe something's going on with it, you want to replace the plug or who knows what, you would have to disconnect this every time if you had a small little S down there. The way it is, now you can kind of pull it out far enough to unplug it and then disconnect this and stuff. So I think I talked her into just leaving this alone. I mean, it's in the corner. You can't really see it. It shouldn't really bother anybody. And if you think lint's going to get caught in there, see how it dipsy doodles up and then back down and around and all that? That's okay. I mean, you got your dryer lint screen in there that catches most of it. Anything else is sure to go up and down, because lots of times dryers, even if you don't see this on the side here, it's probably going to do that back behind the dryer, or when it goes into the wall, it doesn't necessarily go straight outside from there. It might go across and then up and then out, or down and then up and out, you know, whatever. Okay, so I think I've got her convinced. We're going to leave this alone. Still in the kitchen, apparently. Here's a kitchen sink, and the thing with this is it's hard to turn. I don't know why it's so hard. It should not be so hard. And see, here's a pullout. Now this is not heavy metal. It's like pop metal, and it's got a plastic insert and everything. And you should be able to just take that and kind of push it over that way or push it over that way. Well, it's really hard to do that. If you have to do that every single time, there's something going on with that. After a while, this little plastic nib going down into here is going to start wearing, and every time you do it, it's going to go crooked like that. And so I've seen her push it over like that. You should not have to do that. So I'm going to look at that. I don't know if I can get that fixed. I'm going to look at it, and at least I can see if I can get it fixed. You know, no harm, no foul. The dreaded screen door. They wanted a screen door to replace the screen door. Now the screen door could cost $115 or so at the hardware store. And you got to pull it all apart and all that. But here's why they wanted to replace it. Incidentally, if you ever want to open your screen door and leave it open, there's a little hook up here. There's a little nib there, and then there's this deal up here. Have you ever seen that? You take that, and now you can slide it, and that holds the screen spring apparatus open like that. Now I can't if I let go of this, this moves. Why? Because this hinge is off. You see, that's why. See this? It ripped right out of there. Don't ask me how that happened, but it happened. Okay, so there's a hinge here, and it's just screwed on the side here. Now you could fix this, and what you'd have to, obviously you couldn't put it in the same holes. That's all ripped out. You'd have to take this down, kind of tap that flat, move this hinge up, and then there's no screws. They're just big pop rivets in here. You could hold it up there, line it up, pop rivet it back in with bigger pop rivets. You know, set it down on the ground and all that, and then screw this back in, and you could fix this, you know? So think about stuff. Just because it's on your honey-do list, see if anything can be fixed first. Now see, with that still like that, it still closes and everything. It's still closing and stuff. It does that kind of business. I mean, can you let that go? Yeah, you could for a while, but ultimately, you're going to get some good praises if you get this fixed. Now on a screen door like this, you know, it's just a standard cheapo screening. Now, like I say, you could get those at the store for maybe $100, $115, $125, something like that. They're very difficult to install, I think, because they're so tinny and cheap, and that you have to slip it in the pocket and all that. So because of that, if you can fix your existing screen, if it was something like what I just showed you, I would try that first. Save you some money. I'm going to have to take you outside for a couple things out here. This wasn't on the list, but I saw it myself and I thought I'd put it on the list. We've got a gate here. And it's rubbing right down here. So every time you open up the gate, that's as far as it's going to go. You know, well, that's no good. See there? You should be able to open it up all the way. Now, if I lift on it and push on it real hard, I can get it. Okay? That's because I'm pushing the whole fence. Do you see that? Right there. See how that post right there is springy? Okay? Okay, well, maybe down there I can push that post down and put a little shim in there. You know, I could try that. But I also, let me get this latched there. Okay. See the hinge right here? See how it's kind of sagging already? I could undo these screws and move the hinge over just a little bit. And that will help too. But I'm going to try, I might try to put some sort of shim down in there first and try that, or a couple nails or something. And I might have to move this too. These are all rusty, and I can see how that's already kind of crooked. And you know, gates like that, after a while, this gets loose, you know, inside and all of that kind of thing. Okay, but I think it's because this post is so wobbly. You see that? Because when I push on that post out, then the gate opens. All right, that's on the list. I'm putting it on. The next one's outside too, so let's go check that one out. This one was on our list. Let's see what this is all about. Hey, there's Lula. Alright, what do we got going over here? Hey, Koa! Look, there's Koa. Okay, look at this trim right here. See that? This is all eaten away too. Man, this is water. This is dry rot. And that's not even real wood either. It's a hard board, pressed board. That's got to go away. When I look at this, you know, do I want to replace this whole piece of trim? I mean, you could. I'm going to have to cut this out and have to score all this because every single one of those lines is caulked really nice in there. They're all caulked. You could replace that whole piece, you know, but I'm thinking about doing something a little bit different. I'm thinking about maybe cutting it out right here and just replacing this bottom piece. You want to see how I do that? Check out my videos. We'll get her taken care of.